Howdy guys, Bookilara here. I often do this video about 6 months into the year where I sort of review the books that I've read so far this year and choose out my sort of top 5 or just favourite books that I've read so far this year. I like to do it at 6 months in because I think half the year, what are we up to so far, but I kind of miss that. Although you could argue that you have to do the 6 months, so actually the start of July is the right time to do it. But anyway, I'm bringing you the top books that I've read so far this year. Please try to forgive the fact that I look a little, you know, dishevelled. It is proper hot in England right now, and I'm just not the kind of person that can handle it, to be honest. So it doesn't bring out the best look in me. Let's leave it that way. What I'm going to do is, rather than sort of spending a long time sitting and looking through the books that I've read and thinking about it and pondering about it, I'm going to go with minimal sort of prep, as ever. But what I want is to go for a more gut feel. So when I look at the books, which ones am I sort of most excited about remembering? You know, that kind of vibe? That kind of vibe is what I'm going for. So I'm going to Goodreads, hopefully. And I'm going to look at my reading challenge so far this year and see how I'm getting on. This video also ties in with another one I'm hoping to do very soon, which is to look at the goals which I set myself for 2018 and just see how they're going. So it's worth mentioning that I set myself a goal at the start of the year on Goodreads of reading 36 books. So far I've read 37, so that's going swimmingly. So I'm not going to do these based on the rating that I gave them. I'm going to do it as a kind of like, when I look at them, which books do I feel the most strongly about? So I've got up the list of my reads so far this year. And let me have a look and see what... See, there are books on here that I've forgotten I even read. And I think that says a lot. Alright, so when I'm looking down the list, the first book that sort of jumps out to me as one that I really enjoyed was The Three by Sarah Lotz. It was some really sort of spooky mystery. I felt that the ending was a bit flat, but I really, really need to read the rest of the series. The only thing that sort of I find slightly off-putting is that it was really long. I'm not a massive fan of long books, so I think it'll take me a little while before I get around to reading the next one, but I'm quite keen to do so. Another one which really jumps out at me is The Humans by Haig. This was a sort of sci-fi adventure, but with a kind of positive mental health message. It was a really positive message about what it means to be a human and how actually on the surface of it, that can look quite sort of plain and ridiculous, but actually when you dig deeper, being human is quite amazing, and some of the ways we do things, it was just really touching to read. And since then I've sort of followed Haig on Twitter and known more about him, and I understand that he has a really good sort of mental health message, and he's amazing. So if you should follow him on Twitter, that's what I'm saying, and read his books. What else really stands out? Ooh, Nevermoor. Yeah, The Trials of Morrigan Crow. That book I absolutely loved. I sort of see it as a sort of new Harry Potter. I think it's a character going into a new world and finding out all about it, and it's a bit magical. I don't typically enjoy magically books when they're written for adults, but for children there's something different about them, so I really enjoyed it, and I'm very, very excited about the rest of the series. What else have I read? Another one that stands out for me is Children of Blood and Bone. Not the most well-written book I've ever read. There are, you know, flaws in it. I felt it was a lot longer than it needed to be, blah, 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 blah. But actually the message about discrimination and the impact of that I felt was a really important one. So I loved that. So that's 4 books. If I had to choose a last one, I'm going to go with Dave Rudden's Knights of the Borrowed Dark. Again, it's a middle grade book about a kid who finds out that he's a knight and he has to fight basically the bad guys, the bad things in the world. It was really dark. For a middle grade book, it was just proper dark and creepy, and I can imagine kids absolutely loving it. And I think forever will be in my head that actually when I went to Salisbury Literary Festival last year, he was there and he did a reading that he knew off by heart of his book, and it was so creepy, and I think that sense will always stay with me. He was a fantastic sort of charismatic person, not just an author, and that was amazing. So I think that was 5 books. Children of Blood and Bone, Nevermoor, Knights of the Borrowed Dark, The Humans, and the other one, which was The Three by Sarah Lotz. Those are my top 5 reads so far this year. Have you read any of them? Would you rate them very highly? what would be your top book that you've read so far this year. I'm hoping that by the time I do my sort of top 5 books of the whole year, there will be some new additions in there. See what this bookshelf has to offer. Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.